Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we've taken our blank. This is a Goncalo Alves blank. I've measured it to 6 inches on this side. This will be the side that we're working with. And I'm just going to cut it on the bandsaw. Not perfect, but we will true both ends on the lathe. We cut this 6 inches long, and on the finished product it'll be a little over 5 3/4 of an inch. That extra 1/4 inch gives us plenty of room to square ends and make any adjustments that we need to make on the lathe. So let's get over to, let's mark the center. Let me get my centering tool. Here, and we're just going to mark the center on both sides so that when we mount it on the lathe, we have a uniform centerpiece for turning it between the centers. As a note, if you, some larger wood blanks, like as an example, the wood blanks from Wood Turnings with a Z, if you order something from them, a lot of your larger pieces come with sealed in wax, and so you need to be sure that when you get them, as an example, here's this piece has wax on it, is when you get it, be sure to scrape that off, sand it off, cut it off, so that it can slowly start drying. I just remove it from one side so it doesn't dry too fast. I have turned a bowl that I did not take the wax off in advance and ran into some cracking and shifting on the lathe, and so I ended up having to do a rough turn, let it dry some, and then do my finishing passes and move on down the road. So I've marked my centers, and I will put this on the lathe between centers, and we'll get started. Okay, so here we are at the lathe, and one thing that I like to do when I am mounting between centers is just use a hole punch and just mark the center, or a center punch. Just gives a little bit of an area to receive the points. Sometimes, depending upon if I'm using really dense wood, I will take a small drill and just drill a little bit of a hole, but we should be good with this Elvis. Okay, so here we are, getting it mounted on the lathe. I like, if depending upon what type of center you're using, live center, I like to line up my center lines with the tongs. No particular reason other than I just like that. It's all going to be turned away anyway. When we go to bore all this out, we'll bore those marks out. So you just want to make sure that it's snug, get everything locked down, and you are ready to start turning and get this round. We will use, I'm going to use a Hurricane bow gouge that I've modified with an Elves sway back grind on it. just a personal preference. So we'll get started on that next. Okay, so here we go. We've got it mounted on the lathe between centers. We have double checked that when it's turning, because it's square, that it's not going to hit the tool rest. I'm going to start out slow on the lathe. Remember, safety glasses. I wear gloves, and you need a dust collection. Not a dust collection, sorry. I will have my dust collection turned off because of the noise, but a mask. So, and normally I wear a hood, but because I'm going to be talking, I won't have that on. So we're going to start out on the lathe slow, just to make sure. And so right now it's 600 RPM. I'm started with my bowl gouge. I just have put a sharp edge on it, and we're just going to start turning it. Remember to adjust your tool rest as you turn material away. One thing that I like is
laying the tool on top of your piece for checking round. You can also hear it when you're doing the turning, but you can see the difference. Okay, so for the most part, we now have it round. I am going to take a flat carbide tool just to make sure I got nice and smooth edges on both ends. I'm going to turn the piece up to about 1,000 RPM. You don't have to worry about doing it to the full piece because your 4-jaw chuck is just going to hold it in the centers. And then the last thing we're going to do with this, while we have it mounted, is we're going to do some rough, not rough really, but we're going to square the ends a little bit, just for while you're mounting it in the lathe. And to do that, I don't know if you can see that that's dirty, but it is a round carbide cutting tool. You don't have to worry about turning it all the way down to center, or squaring it all the way down to center rather, because when we mount it in the 4-jaw chuck, we're going to be boring holes through that, so that material is going to get taken care of. You're just wanting to create a flat surface for mounting in the 4-jaw chuck. And again, you can hear the difference when you get it squared off. Okay, so our piece is turned round. We have smoothed the ends down and we've squared them also, so this should mount very nicely in the 4-jaw chuck. I am going to get set up for boring out the holes, and if you want, you can, this would be a good time for you with your blank, mount them between centers and turn them round, so that we can go on to the next step. Happy turning.